Hey, I'll call you back.
Well, it's January the 4th, 2021, commission meeting to order. We'll have our roll call with Mr. Manning.
Mr. Rich,
Present.
Mr. Venable,
Present.
Mr. Buckner, present, Mr. McBride.
Present.
Thank you.
We have a quorum present. We'll have our prayer by Mr. Porter and our pledge by Mr. Buckner.
Lord God in heaven, we are blessed to live in this county. What a beautiful county you've given us to live in, wonderful people to work with and work for. So we're thankful for those blessings. But God, right now, you know that our hearts are heavy because of the virus that has spread amongst our community, and people have lost their lives, people are in the hospital. So God, we just pray that you'll be with those that are sick, pray that you'll give them healing, pray that you will be with their families and give them peace and comfort as they go through these difficult times. So God, just be with our community. Watch over us, save us and guide us. In Christ's name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get started, Ms. Sarah from the chamber is here, but I'd like to make a statement about our December 22nd special call meeting before we hear from Ms. Sarah. In that meeting, the commission accepted a letter of resignation from Mr. Guffey. And to clear things up, Mr. Guffey's letter was and is a public document. So therefore, the commission didn't see the need in going through all the details of that letter. But our failure to do that, and the courthouse being closed for several days after that, and no one being able to request public document request, allowed time for several things to happen. Since that time, the governor, and rightfully so, the governor's office released the letter, and Mr. Guffey has made a public statement as well. This time, those events allowed a lot of rumors to get started and speculation, and I just wanted to clear up, the commission wasn't trying to hide anything. It was not our intent to hide anything. That letter is a public document and should be shared with the public. But some of those rumors and speculation, Mr. Guffey addressed some of those in his statement, and it was Mr. Guffey's choosing of what time he resigned. And he chose the date of April the 11th. And the commission, I think rightfully so, accepted that letter of resignation. There is an investigation, and in Mr. Guffey's comments to the public, he referenced that investigation. Some of the rumors and speculation, I've heard everything from he should have been fired, the commission should have removed him, several different things. And I just wanted to go over that process and explain that process. If such a process is warranted and needed, the only way a government official or elected official can be removed is through high crimes and misdemeanors, impeachment. That has to go to a grand jury, which our next grand jury is February-ish.
That's great.
As far as I know, there's been no criminal charges of anything. There is an investigation. It may or may not warrant a criminal charge. And if you're charged, you're not convicted until you go through trial. So it would take, a charge, a conviction, and getting it in the grand jury. Don't think a charge and conviction would take place before the next grand jury.
No.
So when would be the next grand jury? Sometime spring?
Sometime after that, the grand juries unfortunately have been pretty well stalled because of COVID. They've been canceled several times. The sheriff's department knows this. It's just hard to get anything for the grand jury right now because of that. because all jury trials have been canceled for a while. So it would be a number of months. I don't know when exactly.
So that, and then once it went to a grand jury, the grand jury, if they found grounds for impeachment, they moved to trial. So it would have to be put on a docket for a judge to hear it in a trial.
Or actually a jury would hear it.
Or jury to hear it in a trial. So, you know, regardless of what, you know, if all that had to take place to get Mr. Guffey, you know, out of office, if such things were warranted, then it would have took way longer than the amount of time that he requested for his to be his final day. And I think this commission was trying to act in the best financial interest of the county and to give us the ability to function without such things going on. And I think Mr. Guffey, you know, not being here during that will make it a lot easier and better for us to be able to function. I just wanted to clear that stuff up. I apologize. On my behalf, I read the statement. I got in trouble for having a statement ready to read. I should have just spoke like I am now. But that's all I have to say about that. Move on with the meeting. We'll move on to our agenda. The meeting, we have a motion to approve the fiscal year 2020 County Rebuild Alabama Annual Report.
Mr. Chairman, I think, did we approve the agenda of the meeting?
Oh, we did not.
Let's do that.
Thank you. My statement too early.
Yeah, that's all right.
Before we do, let's get to Mr. Campbell then, could I have a motion to approve our meeting and work session agendas?
I'll make that motion.
Motion, can you second?
I second that.
Now, we move on to A, fiscal year 2020 rebuild Alabama.
Thank you, Chairman. Gentlemen, I'll be referencing a document that should be in your packet, looks like this. So, in order to remain in compliance with the recently passed Rebuild Alabama Act, this is a report, annual report required, and it must be presented during the first commission meeting in January. This report shall detail expenditures that we've made in previous years from our county transportation plan. It shall be recorded in the minutes of the county commission and made available for public inspection to include posting on the county's website if available. So the report looks just like our county transportation plan from 2020, but this is a snapshot of where we are at this time. So I'll just speak a little bit about the projects, which you've already seen, you've already approved. But this is just an indicator on what has been completed, what is not, and where it's at in that status. So the first two projects I'll make note of their difference in the remainder of the projects with, it is a resurfacing project, but that, as you recall, is hot mix asphalt resurfacing projects. The other remaining 3 through 9 are chip seal resurfacing, local road resurfacing basically. So the project number 1 and number 2 are not complete. Number 2 is in progress, but not complete. And then the remainder of the local road resurfacing has been completed with the exception of County Road 350. You can see how the funding works out there on the right as far as what's been spent and what's remaining to be spent. And I'll answer any questions that I may for you.
Just so we're clear, this is not deciding to spend any money or what road, this is what was done last year with Alabama rebuild money. So it's just an accounting, just a requirement from the state that we pass it.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
I'll take a motion that we vote on this.
Yeah, I make a motion to approve the fiscal year 2020 County Rebuild Alabama Annual Report.
Motion by
I'll
Mr.
second.
Buckner, and a second by
I'll second.
Mr. Rich. All right, all in favor? Our next item, motion to approve and pay the county's portion of the TVA investment grant. That, we discussed this in our last work session, where we had partnered with EDA with a road extension at the industrial park, and behind KT&A, I think is what the road extension was. It ran over a little bit from the estimate, but they're requesting that we pay this, I think we had planned on it being $20,000, and it's $28,570. It would be our portion if we pay all of that. Take a motion to pay it like we had planned or in its entirety. Now, I will remind you that we do have funds that come directly from TVA in lieu of that go into an account that we can only spend for economic development purposes.
I'll make a motion that we pay it. Second.
Motion by Mr. Rich and a second by Mr. Buckner. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that concludes our meeting. We'll move into our work session. First thing we have is metal detectors for the courthouse security. I think courthouse security has approached Mr. Rich about the age of our current equipment and we'll see about updating it. Mr. Rich, you have anything?
Yeah, I was talking and conversing with Barry at the door and Lauren, and the age of the metal detector is getting on up there, and I figured we got to talking and it would be a good time to update the metal detector out the front and get it up to date. And I just had, there's several models, and here's one of them here that it's got different zones. As you can see, it will light up. You know, if you have something metal in your shoe or your knees or your waist or your shoulders or whatever. And I just thought that would be a good thing to go with after talking with Rocky. Just seeing what y'all, see how y'all.
Out of all the ones that you had priced, this is the only one that's ADA compliant.
Right.
Correct?
Yes, when mentions that it's ADA compliant, I think all of them probably are. However, that was also the cheapest model if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Right now, there's basically a 20% sale on it if you get it before a certain time.
Mr. Porter, is this, what is our maximum amount on what we can buy equipment without doing a competitive bid?
$15,000.
So this is well below that. Anybody have any suggestion on how to move forward with this? Do we want to put it on the next meeting, or do we want to have it on another work session for further discussion?
I mean, this appears to meet the need, so I think, seems like something we should go ahead with.
I agree.
And it's also, 32.5 inches wide versus the standard 30-inch width.
Yes, sir, that's the ADA compliance. I believe it's, you can get a standard wheelchair through it.
If nobody has any objections, we'll add that to the next meeting. On to our next item, roof on the property at Liberty Lane. That building is in desperate need of a roof, and some repairs to the roof. Mr. Guffey had some pricing done, and one of the prices was above the minimum bid law for services and material performance, $50,000, correct? And the one that was below had a price per sheet for decking to be replaced, and it most likely would have put it over that threshold. So a bid spec will have to be written. I had talked to Mr. Campbell earlier today, and he was nice enough to say that he would help me put that together. I'm unfamiliar with that process and what all has to be included in it to meet the minimum standards. So I'll try to have that for the next meeting. If everybody's okay with it.
It's good to me.
All right. Next is the county's property at Sportsman's Landing. I think Mr. Barnes and Mr. Guffey, Mr. Campbell, excuse me, had spoke about, our public works probably gonna try to do some grading and add some gravel and try to fix the parking area and the entrance and the turnaround and stuff in that piece of property. And we've been out, we've had COVID, a lot of issues, and I think you've not had time to do it yet, have you, Mr. Campbell?
That's correct, yeah, we talked about maybe some Friday work opportunities, so we can keep both schedules going, and we still plan to do some of that work. If we understood, if we understood the scope properly, it's just, it was overgrown. They've done a lot of work to just see what they have there, and the parking area is really rough. It needs some drainage to even be able to maintain the parking area. So just some basic work on getting the grade, drainage working properly, and getting a surface, an all-weather surface that can be out there.
I appreciate that, and we'll move forward.
Now, a lot of the, Mr. Bender, a lot of the community went over there and done the majority of the work to get that place cleaned up.
The community has done well to
The community probably done
clean,
well.
keeping it up, and I wanted to move on to some discussion about that. There's been a lot of talk, a lot of speculation on things we could do at that property. I think we even talked to Mr. Dale about that, or Rich Chamber. I think it would be beneficial for us to have a community meeting with the folks in that community, to see their thoughts and ideals, and, instead of us just springing something on them that they don't want in their community, talk about, the options and things that can be done down there. This doesn't have to be on the next meeting, but that piece of property has been sitting there for years. It belongs to TBA. We can't build anything on the foundation, but it can have rental property, and it can have RV sites, walking trails, that type of thing. So I think it would be good for us to look into the potential of that property and talk to the community and their wishes for that property.
I think there's 8.5 acres over there.
Is it that much? I didn't remember it being that much. But,
The majority is that if you're looking at the waters on the left.
and I know TBA had said that they would extend their lease time on it, depending
Yeah,
on,
if we could ever get a meeting with TVA, we could write a new contract for that to maybe put some stationary like cabins on there. But you're gonna have to get with TVA in order to write a new.
Mr. Vice Chair, are they utilities, sewage and everything down there?
Sewage down there,
Well, that right there is,
water.
yeah. That right there would make it easy.
I think sewer goes to the end of that road where it starts.
so guys won't be thinking about it, maybe we'll add this to the next work session, and maybe at that time set a date to have a community meeting, invite the folks from that community.
Yeah.
And we may need to have a meeting a little later in the day or something to allow them time to get here.
Okay, that sounds great.
All right, park insurance project. We have received some funds for the tragedy that we've had at the park, and I think there's a deadline on the time that we've got to get a project started with those funds. Mr. Manny, do you have anything on that?
Yes, sir, they're just wanting basically the commission to make a determination on whether we're gonna replace Dock B or not at all, or if we're gonna utilize that in another capital improvement for the park. So, basically, you guys will need to be discussing what you want to do with that. With our policy included a loss of income on that dock, but we've collected that loss of income for about a year now. And they're willing to know when that stops and when your plans going forward with either the dock or some other capital improvement you feel like would be better for the park. I think I provided information to everyone, sent you some emails and put some things in your mailboxes about this, but see me if you've got any questions about it. I mean, I've talked to our agent quite a bit about this. the lady that's handling our account. And they're basically just wanting to bring an end to the loss of income, since it's been a year now. And then they want us to determine which direction we want to go with the capital improvements from the insurance policy.
I personally would like to just expand our campground area, and we have several on the waiting list, and with COVID, that's became very popular. And I know there's whatever, but.
Yeah, Carl, could you talk to us a little bit about the profitability of the campground as far as adding a site? What would that mean?
Well, we have a diagram of what it would take and the cost it would take to rebuild those on the hill up there, above the campground. And I think at that time it was $750,000.
That was a projected cost.
That was a projected cost, right.
Done a projected cost for the cabin.
Right.
I think they overshot that, but they undershot the projected cost for the cabin.
I think you're exactly right.
Well,
But
50%
anyway, we have 120 people on the waiting list for the camping, okay? We have 25, 30 people on the list for boating. So either way you go, you're gonna make your money back. I wouldn't go back with boating. They would be for pontoons, runabouts, with lifts in them. You'll get just as much out of them as you will, what we was getting out of BDOT. And you can also put some money into camping, You don't have to necessarily do it all at once, but you could do some to both areas.
Mr. Barnes, could you bring us that plot and some of the stuff that you have from when we looked at it before, maybe the next work session, and when we get a conversation started about how we want to move forward with those dollars? And
I don't know how many dollars you're talking about, or if that's something you can talk about.
And for cost on adding campsites, that's grading and
That was everything
materials
at that time.
running utilities.
Now, we didn't know at the time, but Scottsboro Electric, so he owns electricity down there. They would run the primary, okay, at their cost. We would just have to go in with our secondary, okay? So, the way help is nowadays, you don't have to mow and you don't have to weed eat that boat slip. The way help is to try to get and pay help. Then you got to weed eat and mow them campsites. But you can have some of both of them, I think. I don't mean you have to necessarily stop at that. I mean, once you get those, you can always add to it.
How many people we got on the waiting list for campsites?
120. Now, does that mean when I call those 120?
Right, yeah.
How many I'm gonna get out of it? I don't know. But every campsite I've had to come open, I've filled it within the next day.
Good.
I'd like to have this on the next work session for injections, and hopefully we'll have some time to get some stuff together, and get some cost and return on investment there. The next item on our agenda is vehicle usage policy. We have anything in our packet about. This just has identifying marking. This is state law, which I don't think we're in full compliance of. But we, as Jackson County, need to have a usage policy that we pass a resolution on and hold to it. So I just want to bring everybody up to speed, aware that we're going to start writing that, working on that. Any suggestions you have, just turn them in. And this may be a month or two down the road before we have something put together, but we're going to start working on that. All right. Next thing, we have
Jason, if I could comment on this identified markings, you said that we do have vehicles that aren't in compliance with that.
and we have some that I don't feel like's in compliance with it.
And that is this bound for any
Any vehicle that we own is supposed to be marked. And whatever we pass needs to, at bare minimum, match this law, but, you know, some of it we need to go beyond what the law says for our own personal preferences.
You all get to decide what it's supposed to look like, that's your job.
And I know on a lot of the vehicles, we don't have them because we have a turnover problem. You know, we're trading the vehicles out and putting that signage on them and fill out sign, you know, can damage the paint. I don't think they can be temporary. I don't think they can be magnets stuck to them. So, we need to discuss all that.
You also can think about maybe putting a tag on the front and then maybe a sticker on the back or the window or something.
Yeah, we put something in the glass,
Right.
you know, that can be
Yes.
removed and not damage the vehicle.
Noticing Mr. Arnold has them on his, on the glass, and that's nothing on the paint.
That's why we did it, because like he said, it was damn, it would leave faded spots, and if you're gonna turn around and sell those every year, every other year, you don't wanna damage the paint.
Correct.
So, yeah, I think, you know, Eric, I think we got them on the back glass and
The tag on the front.
and the tag on the front.
Tag on the front.
Anybody have anything else on that? We'll have that back on the work session in the near future. Moving on, IT work order process. In light of some recent events, I just feel like it would be good for us to start a work order process similar to what we have in maintenance and public works. I know when a taxpayer calls in with a complaint, they have a work order process, fill out, you know, and date, time, who called. Mr. Porter, do you have anything you would like to add to this? How it, I mean, we maybe don't need it for everything that you do, but if somebody wants to move a camera, add a camera, change out a monitor, access to the cameras, that type of stuff, I feel like there needs to be record of that, and the commission needs to have access to that record at all times.
Yeah, I think that's the most important. Like you said, specifying what needs recorded. Because, I mean, I have a lot of texts, hey, my mouse is not working. I know y'all don't care about that, so.
Right.
We just need a line drawn, of, hey, we need to know about this. Hey, just take care of it.
Okay. Maybe I'll get with you this week or something, and maybe
Yes, sir.
we'll have this on the next work session. All right. Next item on the agenda, had a lot of concerns, talked to Chief Herman about and I think you reached out to, what, FBI and Homeland Security, looking for somebody to do a sweep on the courthouse to check and make sure that all that we have in here, we know what we got and everything's where it's supposed to be. You've not had any luck finding anybody to do that.
That is correct. FBI said they couldn't do it, state said they couldn't do it, and Homeland Security's not calling me back. There are probably private agencies out there. The suggestion I got was use infrared. I told them that wouldn't work. We've got so much electricity going through this office. It would light up like a candle. So it's got to be some specialized equipment that we don't have access to.
Also, do you know anybody that we might could reach out to
I can do some research. I didn't know that we were running into dead ends, so I can look around.
if you could check on that for us, and then we'll have this on the next work session.
Yes, sir.
Discuss it further. I know there's some concerned employees and understandably. All right, next thing we have is, Mr. Rich had got a call from a contractor wanting to know about taking down a tree, council on aging. I don't think any of the commission was aware. I talked to Mr. Anderson today, and he said that the neighbor there was having some damage from a hickory tree and dropping hickory nuts on the roof and limbs. And limbs, and there was one large dead limb hanging over the lady's outbuilding. So, that's something we want to move forward with. Do we want to request bids for that work? It was well under the minimum bid requirement, but I still think it would be beneficial to us and to the taxpayer to advertise for a bid on that. I agree with that.
Basically, I would hate for, it's our tree, but if anybody from the lady's side, could be over there and get hurt, it just, property damage or whatever, it'd be best to, go ahead and take care of the problem before anything happens or comes about.
Nobody objects, I will have that on the next regular meeting to advertise for that removal of that tree. That's all we have on our work session agenda.
Mr. Venable, you got someone signed up.
Oh, we had somebody sign up to
Yes,
speak?
the sheriff signed up to speak.
Who?
I wasn't on the
Sure.
agenda, so I signed
Oh,
up, so I wasn't left out.
Okay. Go ahead, Sheriff.
Hey, we got an unforeseen expense at the jail that wasn't, known about, I guess, or should have known about it, but back in October when we passed the budget. But we got about a $5,800 range that needs to be replaced. The ovens hadn't worked for the past 8 years, and she's been using the eyes on the top, which she's down to 2 now. And during Thanksgiving, I think she had some major problems. We got what we call a steamer that has taken the place of the ovens. Well, the steamer goes and comes too, and it broke down while she was fixing Thanksgiving dinner. Took her 14 hours just to fix dinner for her. We've got to have range, a new range. This one has 2 ovens. The one that's there now was put in there in 1998. So, it just needs to be replaced.
No objections, I'll ask that we put that on next work, or next meeting. This dawned on me, and you may have to coach me through this, I apologize, it's all new to me. We moved last week's meeting to this week.
Right.
Are we gonna meet next week and stay on a second and fourth Monday schedule? Or are we gonna wait 2 weeks, and have a meeting again on a first and third Monday schedule? I'm fine with a meeting next week, calendar set up.
Okay, if you're not gonna meet next week, then you need to vote to change, because you've already announced your regular meeting.
She has not, she didn't advertise for the 11th meeting, she advertised it for the following.
I understand, but when this commission formed in November,
Right.
we set the second and fourth. So if you're gonna change that, you need to do that.
Okay, so we need to just go ahead and have a meeting Monday.
Right.
And stay on our schedule. Okay. Just want to bring that to everybody's attention because holidays kind of got us off there.
Mr. Vice Chair, I got a question for the sheriff.
Yes, sir.
Is this something that we need to pretty well act on immediately?
I would like for you to, because, this thing's used 3
But
times
if
a
it
day
goes
for the
out,
past
tonight,
1998, right? I don't know how many eyes she had before Thanksgiving, but she's down to 2 right now,
right,
and we need an oven pretty quick.
so,
Yeah, put it
I don't think we need to
next
wait.
week.
Yeah, Monday.
That's everything from the commission, department heads, off you have anything?
No, sir.
Mr. Barnes, you have anything?
I would like to recognize County Works employees. We had several that had, were out during the Christmas break for responses on on-call. We're all on call anytime, and we all know that, but, Christmas Eve, for example, there were a couple of instances and they were out responding to those, so I just want them to know that I appreciate their response and efforts and sacrifices they make for us all. Thank you.
I actually have some good news. Back last summer, EMA applied for a grant, a technology grant through the Tides Foundation. week before Christmas, we received a check for $39,000. So what we plan to do with that, I'm sure everybody in here knows the issues that we have at places like the Walls of Jericho and Buck's Pocket, where we have zero communications. So our plan to use that money, first of all, we're going to use a little bit of it to, everything's going to WebEx meetings now with the state of Alabama, and we are not equipped to do that in the basement. So we're going to work on that. We plan on buying some thermal imaging equipment and some satellite communications equipment for when our rescue squad and the sheriff and everybody's out looking for missing persons, that maybe we can speed that process up just a little bit. When a helicopter can't fly, fell on the ground, the FLIR can see some heat out in the woods. So that's the kind of things we plan on spending that money for, but we're proud to have received that grant.
Manny, do you have anything?
No, sir.
Sheriff, do you have anything else?
No, that's all.
Can I ask one thing real quick? Could all department heads remind their people, we're asking the citizens to wear a mask when they come in offices, and I know we're trying to be careful, but I know sometimes we forget, I do sometimes, and forget to put it on, but if you come in another office, please have your mask on, because we got some people that are kind of germaphobes, and I understand, we've had some people recently, like today, 2 people died that I know from COVID. So it is real, folks. People are dying from it.
Folks on Facebook make comments often about us not wearing masks up here. We have.
Well, you're safe.
Well over 6 foot away, and we have protective dividers between us, so it's just hard to speak and understand if you don't have them. Commissioner, Mr. Rich, you have anything?
I just like to, with all the past events that's been going on here lately, just everybody trust in the commission. We're gonna make the best decision for the people of Jackson County. I just want everybody to know that. Everybody's got their own opinion, everybody's got their own suggestion to do. But if you ever sit up here in up in our shoes, everything's not clear cut and easy as it looks to be, like just a box of, peanuts and candy. You gotta make decisions that affects 3 or 4 things at once, and you gotta decide on who to take care of. Well, I want to take care, and I always want to take care of the people of Jackson County and our employees. That's what I want to, it's my first to always do. I still getting calls on, I reckon, there's more cameras here. I got 2 today. We'll do our best to get the courthouse swept. I can't tell you, and this will probably get speculation up. What I know right now is I know myself 100%, there's no other cameras that ain't supposed to be anywhere that, in other places. And also too, the rumors going around that there was a camera in the bathroom. There was not a camera in the bathroom. All right, so just want to get that out to sort of clear that part up. And I appreciate it, thank you.
Just want to say, like Jonathan, thank you to all our county employees who, with this COVID, this new ground that we're on, people are out and we have to cover for one another. Everybody's done an excellent job. Speaking from a personal experience, this COVID's real. I mean, I got a taste of that the last couple of weeks, and I'm still not 100%, but as far as recovering, of course, I'm cleared to be back, but just follow the precautions and wear your mask and do the right thing and consider everybody around you. Thank you.
No, I'm good. Wonderful turnout today. I appreciate everybody being here. Looking forward to the next meeting.
I want to add something. I know it's been a long meeting. I apologize. I had an apology escalation the first of the meeting, and I'd like to make another. I'm willing to understand and admit when I make a mistake, and I feel like we made a mistake closing the courthouse the length of time that we did. We had good intentions. After Thanksgiving, I think we had at one time close to 30 employees out. Not all positive, but some had been exposed to other employees that had got it at family gatherings. We were trying to give enough time from Christmas if we went back to work after New Year's, that if any employees contracted this virus, that they would have symptoms and know it before it was time to come back to work. In hindsight, we made a mistake because the crowd has been in the hallway all day long. We've added exposure to the citizens because they've not had time to come in and get their taxes done and their property taxes paid, tax law, stuff like that. So I apologize for that. This is uncharted territory. You know, we try to do what we think is best, and I feel like we made a mistake with that. I know he's in favor of it, but I made a mistake. And other than that, pray for 2021 because 2020 has not been a good year in many, many ways. And that's all I've got. With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor, say aye.
Hey, Chuck, I got a good wood stove. It's got about 4 hours on it.
It's not positive.
She's very sick. My chance, she had help. Oh, I'm fine, but she's having a hard time. Yes, I said, what kind of symptoms? Go home. What are you doing here? So.
Is he on administrative leave? Is about to go home? Not present.
So you know.
What if someone after? Why is he not here indicating to be?
I had his resignation.
I said it over here.
He said he would not be back to next
So why is the commission continuing to pay?
That's up to the commission. There's no state law that requires a chairman or a commissioner to attend the meeting. So he's just not attending the meeting, he's not here. That's all I know to say to it.
Do any of you consider that him not doing his duty as chairman of the commission?
That's outside of our arena.
But you are citizens and you are members of this commission, you can have opinions.
I'm not gonna comment on it because it's outside our arena authority. And, you know, we've done what we needed to do to function and move forward. And that's what we were elected to do, and that's what we'll continue to try to do. I think I speak for everybody on that.
There has been a couple of statements, semi-official made concerning Mr. Guffey had said that he has a medical problem, but I haven't seen anything about approved medical leave or anything.
We're gonna talk to him about that.
Well, I mean, you can't, you know.
He turned in a letter and we accepted, he turned in a letter and we accepted the letter.
You know, they say, you know, politicians cannot self-grant pay.
He doesn't have sick leave, he doesn't have any kind of leave, he's just chair.
There's no medical leave, there's no administrative leave, still in that status of chair. Okay, that's what I wanted to clear. Because those two statements had been made out, he made one. I think maybe the press release is one, it's mentioned as one, administrative leave. So that just needs a little clarification. Okay, I got what you're saying.
I try to clear it up as best I can going into this meeting.
I got you. You're put in that position. I got you. I understand. You know, but the statement, she will have a, so I can put it on public record.
I'll get a copy of it in our records.
And I'll come tomorrow and ask for it. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
What legally constitutes a commissioner not doing their duty?
I can give you